Get ready to drop the puck, take a free throw, and step up to the plate. It's time for the Metro East Sports Podcast on lineupmedia.fm.
Okay, before we get to Executive Director of the Edwardsville Wrestling Club, Pat McNamara, I want to thank Cassens, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, the number one place to purchase a vehicle in the Metro East. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned car, check out Cassens inventory in person, where they've been for 25 years, or online at cassens.com. Cassens has earned the highest ratings for customer service. Their expert staff is committed to making your car buying experience enjoyable, including convenient on-site financing. I've purchased 4 vehicles there. My daughter drives an IU Red Jeep Cherokee, and my wife and I are on our second Jeep Grand Cherokee. With over 80 years of experience in the Metro East, Cassens is the clear-cut leader for quality, service, and customer satisfaction. Go see Steve, Cliff, Holly, Greg, Bob, Mike, Tony, or Trent today. All right. Mr. Pat, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm great.
Executive Director of the Edwardsville Wrestling Club at the Jon Davis Wrestling Center at Edwardsville High School.
Yeah.
Quite a title.
Right? Yeah, it's the fancy one, I guess.
I'll tell you what, though, it's a happening place.
It is. Yeah, it's a great place. There's a lot of kids that really find a lot of fun and excitement. So it's a great place for kids.
Amazing place. And I want to get to all the stuff that you're doing there right now and throughout the year.
Right.
First, I want to talk about you, though.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Minnesota. I grew up just outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and a town called Jordan, Minnesota. It's a small town. I grew up in a real small community, and so it's kind of a culture shock to be here in Edwardsville, with my kids growing up in a bigger high school. My graduating class was 100 kids, so I'm not used to the size of Edwardsville, but it's been great.
But you wind up at Michigan State University.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know about big schools, you found out pretty quick.
Yeah, that was a culture shock for sure, to drive 14 hours and get dropped off at a school that was just enormous, and just an awesome experience for me. I grew up a lot and was very fortunate to have that experience.
And you had an awesome experience there. You were a 3-time All-American wrestler, 2001, 2000, and 1998, with an overall record of 108 and 28, 49 and 16 in the Big Ten Conference. Yeah. How does a kid from a tiny little high school of 100 kids wind up to be all Big Ten, All-American 3 times?
Yeah. I mean, I was blessed to be around some amazing people. I grew up in a small community, and so many people supported me. Wrestling was a big deal where I was from, and I had so many coaches that poured into me and allowed me to grow and develop, and it was a ton of fun, and I was very, very blessed to have that experience for sure.
And that's the motivator for you now, to give back the same?
Yeah.
To put your time into these kids?
Yeah, I grew up wrestling. I was really young when I started. I started when I was 5. My dad was a wrestling coach. My dad was a really good wrestler growing up. He was an All-American at Mankato State University, which is Division II school, which is now Minnesota State. And he was a wrestling coach in our community. And actually, my dad passed away when I was young, when I was 5. And so it was important to our family. It was important to my mom to get me involved in wrestling, and she did. I'm thankful she did, because I loved it. I just started going, and I fell in love with it, and it really helped keep me moving the right direction. I had so many. This is the thing about sports in general, but obviously I'm biased, but especially the sport of wrestling. There's coaches that just pour into you, and it's such a difficult sport. It's so challenging. It pushes you, more than what you think you're able to do. And these coaches stuck with me and pushed me, and I was very fortunate. Yeah.
Is it more of a lifestyle than a sport?
It is, yeah. I mean, it takes a ton of discipline. You're really focused. A lot of sports you can go, and when the sport is over, you're done. You can go home and relax and unwind and get away from it. But with the sport of wrestling, there's more to it than that. You're cutting weight. You're not, maybe not cutting weight, but managing your weight, I guess, is a better term. Making sure that you're putting the right things in your body and you're recovering and preparing for the next. And if you're going to do anything at a high level, as you know, I mean, you got to put the work in and you got to be disciplined. And wrestling brings that out of you. It really does.
You're right. There are some things that are unique about wrestling, and one of them is the discipline it takes in terms of the weight management.
Yeah. It just brings out that toughness. People ask me, why is wrestling good for kids, and why do you want to coach wrestling? And the biggest, I can give all these canned answers of, it's the discipline, it's the sportsmanship, and those things are true. But I think something that's unique to wrestling is that it creates toughness. You have to be a tougher individual to be able to continue and to be able to stick with it. And it's not for every kid. It really isn't. But for those kids that can stick with it and get through it, doesn't matter if you're a state champ or you're second string, you just gain so much from it. And to be able to, survive and push through those tough times, it's huge for you. It makes you, better throughout your whole entire life. So that is why I love the sport of wrestling. That's why I love coaching and being around it and working with young kids, for sure.
Wow. That was perfect.
Right? Yeah, right?
That was perfect, man.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah. No, it's obviously something I think about a lot. Obviously it's something that I'm very passionate about, and it's been a blast.
Do you find people are critical of wrestling?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. People that don't understand it, and that's everybody's that way. When you don't understand something, you're not sure of it. You're not around it, and I think, Edwardsville and some of the surrounding communities, it's new to a lot of people. I think some communities have a lot of legacy. There's a lot of people that grew up around it and understand it, and that is easier to manage, but in the Edwardsville community, there's a lot of first generation kids coming into our program, because we have this awesome facility, and people are like, I want to try it, and it's great to introduce these people to the sport. And my biggest thing is I want them to fall in love with it. I want them to enjoy it and become fans of the sport, and then want to, and even if it doesn't stick, maybe they'll get their son into it, or their daughter into it, and they'll start to grow in the sport.
I'm glad you said daughter, because one of the fastest growing sports.
Oh yeah,
girls wrestling.
It is. Oh man, it's it's so great, because for all these years it's been mainly for men, and now they're finally starting to say, let's get girls involved in this. Let's give these girls the same opportunity that we're giving these boys, and it's taken off. A Division I program, a Power 5 conference program, University of Iowa, just committed to starting their program there. So there's going to be a Division I school at the Power 5. University of Iowa is going to have a wrestling program for girls, and that's just incredible. And I think that's going to be the start of some of these other Power 5 schools to be able to support a program. And there is a lot of women's programs at the college level around, but they're the smaller schools, and it's when you go to a Power 5 school, there's a lot of notoriety and excitement, and people get excited about it. And now if we can get some of those programs jumping into the picture and giving young ladies a chance to experience those universities and be able to do their sport at the highest level, I think that's incredible. I'm excited about that for sure.
Okay, I'm going to brag about you for a second here. I might even make you uncomfortable because I'm a coach, and I like to watch coaches coach. And I watched you lead a clinic, probably one of your regional training centers, at the Jon Davis Wrestling Center. And I watched you coach about 50 athletes or so in the wrestling room.
Yeah.
And you spoke to them, and you were teaching them, and then you had them practice the move that you were showing them. But what really stuck with me was the level of attention those kids were giving you and your style as you were speaking to them.
Yeah.
You were very calm, very relaxed, but you definitely had their attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's bringing that energy to the practice room and making sure the kids respect you when you're in there. And I'm blessed to be around a bunch of other coaches that kind of shown me how to act and how to run practices. And I've been around some great coaches and some great people, and it's a blessing to be able to be in front of all those kids and be able to communicate to them and kind of be a role model and a mentor like I had when I was growing up. So I love every minute. That's the best part of my job, when I get in front of those kids and I get to, as you know, I mean, it's every coach's favorite part of their job. They don't like the other, I don't not like the other stuff, but I'd much rather be in the practice room conducting a practice, working with kids and developing young people for sure.
You mean you'd rather be on the mat working with kids than, say, fundraising, ordering T-shirts, figuring out what time the pizza's going to show up here, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff for sure. Yeah. So now let's talk about the Jon Davis Wrestling Center. What's going on there right now that people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, well, we have our season's just getting rolling. So we started our preseason September 1. So we've been into our preseason phase for this month, and we have one more month left of our preseason. But October 5th, which is tomorrow, and October 7th, which is Thursday, we have an open house for anybody that's not been around the sport of wrestling or not familiar with our program or our facility. They can come by and check out the wrestling center, and what an amazing place it is. I mean, we have the nicest facility in the country. I mean, it's not even close. We're so fortunate to have an awesome place to be able to run our program, and so kids can come up and check that out. And there's a practice going on that they can kind of see what it's going to look like for the season. Our season begins November 1st, and we have a lot of kids that are trying wrestling in our community, and it's so exciting. 2 years ago, before the COVID season hit, we had 212 kids in our program that are just from Edwardsville. So that is ages 6 and under. So that's about 5 years old up through 14. So we had 212 wrestlers in those age ranges wrestling. And right now, our preseason, we have about 70 kids in our preseason, which is bigger than even that 2019 preseason that we had. So I'm hopeful big numbers are coming our way. And, obviously there a lot of people are like, man, is COVID going to affect you? And I hope not. I hope people aren't scared away, because we try to do the best we can to keep kids safe. And that's what everybody's doing right now, where they're doing the best job they can. So anybody that comes into our practice room, they got to wear that face cover. Anybody that comes into our building, it's in a school district building, you got to wear your face mask, and they'll keep it on at all times other than when they're actually wrestling with a partner. So the only person they're being exposed by is the partner they're with, and so we're doing the best job we can, and I think it's a safe environment for kids. We haven't had any issues, knock on wood, now yet, so we're hopeful it'll be a great season and we'll be able to continue on. So
shout out to District 7 staff for keeping those buildings clean too.
Oh man, oh gosh, our custodian at the wrestling center is the best. His name is Mark, and Mark works his tail off, and I enjoy the heck out of him. He's a great guy that puts his heart and soul into our facility, and somebody comes in and he's bragging about our facility and our wrestlers, and it's so cool. Yeah, he's a great guy.
It is cool. It's an amazing building. You've got the workout center there, right next to the Chuck Fruit Aquatic Center.
Oh man, what a place that is too. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing that District 7 features those two facilities on campus.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And oh, by the way, here comes an ice rink.
I know. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, that'll be cool.
And I think as the coaches and the directors of the various programs and sports, I think part of our job is to remind kids how fortunate they are to have those opportunities.
Oh man, for sure. Yeah, I mean, these kids are. I say it all the time, and I don't know if people get mad at me, but I say they're spoiled rotten. I mean, some of these college kids around the country don't experience what our kids do here. It's amazing, the facilities that we have, and I think a lot of them appreciate it though. I really
do too.
I think there's a large portion of the families and the athletes that really appreciate what they have, and we're very fortunate for sure.
I agree, and I think we like to share them. We like to share our facilities.
Absolutely, yeah.
You said you had 212 kids from Edwardsville who were
Yeah.
wrestling at the Edwardsville Wrestling Center.
Yeah.
But are you not also training some kids who are from other communities?
Yeah, for sure. We have a bunch of kids in the off season. We do a lot of off season training. We partner with Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, and Jeremy Spates is the head coach there, and he's an incredible guy. He was a great wrestler as well, and we partner together to run the SIRTC, which is the Southern Illinois Regional Training Center. And so we have kids from all over the community, surrounding communities, within a 50-mile radius. They can come in and train with us. And we do that from basically the end of March all the way up through the national tournament. It's called freestyle wrestling is what they do at the international level. But the freestyle national tournament happens at the middle portion of July. So we stop our SRTC at the middle, but right in the middle of July. And but we work together with the college athletes. It's so cool. We bring the college athletes, the middle school athletes, and the high school athletes together, train together. We kind of sometimes split it up into different groups, but it is a great thing. Some of these young kids can see the top level athletes at a college university, a Division I university, and train side by side with them. So it's a great experience.
I know that's got to be inspiring for those kids.
Yeah,
they love seeing the older kids, the bigger kids out there.
Oh yeah,
doing their
and they're top level. I mean, Jeremy Spates is doing a great job. I mean, he's getting some really quality athletes there, and I'm excited to see this year for them. I think they're going to have a good year too.
Yeah,
so.
I'll be excited too. We need to have him on the show.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's a great guy.
You recommend kids play more than one sport?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as you know, my two boys are playing tennis right now. They're up at the tennis courts, and they love the sport of tennis. They're doing a ton of stuff: soccer, flag football, wrestling. That's what they're doing right now, and baseball. And they play all the sports, and that's what I want them to do. I think too early we get caught up in specializing at a young age, and even going. Even doing too much at an early age. The biggest thing, and I heard this from an awesome coach. He was a coach at Tennessee Chattanooga, but he said, when kids are young, they're 7, 8 years old, their role model and their love of their life, their focus is their parents. Like, my kids jump in bed with me in the morning and give me hugs, and they love it. They love to be around me right now. They're 9 and 11 years old, but I'll tell you what, there's a time where that's going to stop. And that's when those kids need a mentor and a role model in their life, So if we lose them at 8 years old, if we put them through a torture chamber and say, you got to be here, you got to be doing this, and by the time they get to high school, they're like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. And that's the age where they can start making that decision. That's the age where they can say, I don't want to do this anymore, Mom or Dad. I don't want to do this anymore. And that's the time when they need it the most. If we can get kids to the high school. And what an incredible job John Wagner does, and their whole staff, Eric Preto and Ryan Followell and Doug Hines and Kevin Mattarelli. Those guys if my kids can't experience those guys, then I did a bad job. Or if our kids in Edwardsville can't get to that point, then I didn't do my job well, because that's what we want. We want kids that are 15, 16 years old experiencing great role models in their life that are going to help them become great individuals later on. So.
Once again, man, you're like like a motivational speaker.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
right,
You should get up on stage with this stuff. I'm telling you the truth. I was just thinking, just listening to our last guest, Sam Quigley Smith, talking, giving her message, listening to you. I just always think when I have these great coaches on here, we need to have a coaches symposium.
Yeah, right.
Let you get out there and just really talk about this stuff, or maybe we get you and.
Yeah.
And, a handful of other coaches in the same room and really talk about these things, because I think parents need to hear some of this too.
Yeah, they do. I mean, when you're raising your kid, you want what's best for them. You want to help them. And what you think is, you don't want to see little Johnny lose. You don't want to see him lose because it breaks your heart. But the best thing that happens, I just went up to a tournament in Kansas City with my young 11-year-old, and he got his butt whooped, But I knew it was going to be a struggle. I knew it may, but that's what he needed. And that's what's going to help him grow. And he's motivated by it, and so that's a great thing. It's not a bad thing to bring your kid along slowly. Sometimes we want them to be the best right now, and that's not I don't think that's always the right way. I mean, you got to bring them up. And some kids are different. Every kid's different. It's not one size fits all. But, with Edwardsville Wrestling Club, we really try to err on the side of caution and not try to overwhelm kids. Like I said, I want to get them to the high school. I want to get them involved in wrestling when they need it the most. And if we can do that, then we're doing our job. And not to say we don't have kids that strive for excellence. We want that. We're trying to develop that, and we've done that pretty well. With some of our athletes, has gotten them to that next level, and that's what we want. But it's not going to work that way for everybody.
You guys have developed some amazing wrestlers.
Yeah, we've been working at it. We have some kids that are doing well right now.
A state champion.
Yeah,
recently.
Yeah.
Noah Certain.
Yeah.
Wrestling at Mizzou. Tell me the kid who won at state. His
Luke Odom.
Luke Odom,
yeah.
Of course, at University of Illinois now.
Yeah,
and then Noah killing it.
Yeah.
At Missouri.
Yeah.
And
sure.
What role has Edwardsville Wrestling Club played in the development of those kids?
Yeah, it's been fun. That's the cool thing about what I do is like I get to start with these kids when they're really young. Like Noah came into our program at 8 years old, and to see him grow and develop to where he is now. And then Luke Odom came to our program when he was 11, and he just grew and developed and he was he came into our program pretty tough. I mean, he started young and he came into our program pretty dang good, but we got him, I really feel like we helped develop him as well. And it's fun to see those guys at the next level and see kids striving for excellence. And now those guys are role models for our next crop, and just shows that you can accomplish big things, by being a part of our program. And that's exciting for other kids,
And also, you can achieve great things as a program by being a little bit more laid back and letting kids find their way, and not constantly weeding out the top kids when they're 8 years old and putting them on the court for 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
Our sports are so similar.
Absolutely. And
you see so many kids who are so good when they're 11 and 12, and by the time they're 14, they absolutely hate it.
Right. And that's a challenge, I mean, it's a fine line that you walk, because you want them to achieve, because if they're not having success, they're probably going to, they're probably not going to have as much interest. So you gotta walk that line of, hey, we're going to work hard, but we're going to have fun doing it. And you almost got to define fun for these kids. You got to say, hey, this is what fun is. We're going to work really hard. We're going to walk out of this room. We're going to be drenched in sweat, and we're going to be pouring out of ourselves all the work that we just put in. But that's fun. That's enjoyment. That's excitement. That's what we want. And trying to get kids to buy into that and do that, and then they're going to keep with it, and be proud of them and tell them how great they're doing and be very positive impact in their life, then you're going to get them.
I tell them that there's different kinds of fun.
Yeah.
There's a satisfaction type of enjoyment that you feel when you've done something well, and then there's birthday party silly fun.
Right.
That's not what we're doing here at Wrestling Practice today.
Yeah.
It's a different kind. There's different kinds of fun.
Absolutely.
You can still have the other kind of fun, but this is a more meaningful type of fun, because I think in your sport also you have to be willing to suffer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You got to grind out some of those tough practices. You come in not feeling your best, and you got to be able to get through it, and then when you do, you feel great about it, and every kid is that way. I mean, we have 7-year-old kids come in our program, and the first couple times they come in our practice room, they're crying. They're crying because they're coming in because they're scared. They don't know what to expect. They're dealing, and I'll talk to the parent. I'll just be like, I promise you, after they walk out of here, there's going to be a smile on his face. I just promise you. And that is the case. They come in a little bit shy and timid and scared, but when they walk out, they appreciate what just happened, and what they went through. So,
okay, parents, if you want to check out the Edwardsville Wrestling Center in action, because I love the idea of the open house.
Yeah.
Come out, check it out.
Yeah.
And then I think that's a really great way to see if your child may have some interest in it.
Right. Right.
And so we can do that this Thursday and this Saturday, you said?
No, this Tuesday.
Sorry.
And this Thursday. Yep.
So
this
tomorrow, the 5th.
Yep.
And then what's the second date?
The 7th.
The 7th.
This Thursday. Yeah. Both days are going to be the same. There, we're going to have cookies for the kids and lemonade and show them what a practice looks like. They can come in and climb the rope and check things out. So it's fun.
Only show up for that, people, if you want to see an amazing coaching staff and a first-class facility that is producing tons of great kids, and not just great wrestlers, but great people too. I've had so many wrestlers in class where I can tell that you guys are working hard to teach them the right way to do things, to show up for class, to be good citizens, and so forth. And good on you.
I'll tell you, our staff is incredible. I mean, the people that are involved with working with these young kids from our club program. Sarah Doty is our women's coach. She runs our women's program, and she's a phenomenal young lady. She works her tail off and wants to develop women's wrestling to the highest level here in Edwardsville, and is doing a phenomenal job. She helps us in every part of our program for sure. But and then we have Chris Jordan, who's on staff, that helps us kind of run things from an administrative standpoint, that just does a great job. Jeremy Dempsey, who is a coach that helps us a ton as well. He does a great job with our young kids. And then I'll tell you what, our kids in middle school are so fortunate here in Edwardsville. I mean, to have AJ Ciccarelli at Lincoln Middle School and Sean Mead at Liberty Middle School, they get so many kids out to try the sport, and they give an incredible experience. These coaches are amazing. They both wrestled in college. They've seen wrestling at the highest level. They know wrestling, and they're just great coaches and great mentors and great role models. And just, we're so fortunate here in Edwardsville to have so many great people working with our young athletes and helping them become great at what they're doing. But also the biggest thing is helping them become great in life later, and that's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do. And so great to have all these coaches, and I'm very thankful to be a part of the program for sure.
Coach Pat McNamara, Executive Director of the Edwardsville Wrestling Club, head coach.
Yeah.
One of these.
Yeah.
Awesome. See you in the tennis courts, too.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much
Thanks
for what
coming
you do.
by.
Yeah.